Hey there, fishing friends, and welcome back to the channel. It's your buddy, here with the most detailed fishing forecast you'll find anywhere. This week, we're diving deep into the conditions across Ireland for the period of the 19th to the 25th of January 2026. Now, I've been poring over the charts, and friends, this is no ordinary winter week. We're looking at a real game of two halves, starting off unsettled and tricky, but finishing with what could be a fantastic window for a proper Irish monster. So, are you ready to find out when to brave the weather and when to stay home and prep your tackle? Let's get right into it. This week, our prime targets are the kings of the cold water, the mighty pike and the hard-fighting perch. These fish don't mind the chill, in fact it concentrates them, and if we play our cards right, we can intercept them. First up, let's talk about esox, the water wolf. This time of year, just before they start thinking about spawning, the big females are at their absolute heaviest. My advice is to forget the fast, frantic retrieves of summer. Think slow and then think slower again. For where to find them, you need to be looking for structure in deeper water. We're talking about those underwater drop-offs, the edges of old river channels in the loughs, and any significant submerged timber. The cold water pushes the baitfish deep, and the pike will not be far behind. In terms of tactics, dead baiting is going to be your number one method. A static, ledgered mackerel or roach, positioned carefully on a drop-off, can be irresistible to a big, lethargic pike looking for an easy, high-calorie meal. Don't be afraid to leave it in place for a good while before repositioning. Another great tactic, especially from a boat, is slowly wobbling a dead bait. This gentle, dying fish action can trigger a response when nothing else will. If you're a lure angler, it's time to break out the big, slow-moving soft plastics and swim baits. Anything over 6 inches, retrieved with a painfully slow roll just above the bottom, is the way to go. Next, let's turn our attention to the perch. A big Irish perch with its stripes and bright red fins is a beautiful fish, and they can be very catchable in these cold conditions. Much like the pike, they'll often be shoaled up in deeper spots. Look for them around the same areas: deep holes, bridge supports in rivers, and sharp drop-offs in the loughs. They often sit very close to the bottom. My top recommendation for perch this week is finesse lure fishing. Techniques like drop-shotting a small 2 or 3 inch lure right on their nose can be absolutely deadly. Another fantastic method is using a small jig head with a creature bait and just slowly, methodically hopping it along the bottom. If you prefer bait, you can't go wrong with a simple ledger rig using lobworms or even a bunch of red maggots. The key is to find the shoal. Once you find one, you can often catch several from the same spot. Now let's get into the why. Why am I suggesting these tactics? It all comes down to the conditions, my friends. I've analyzed the data, and here's the breakdown. Let's start with the weather. We're beginning the week with an unsettled, low-pressure system hanging around. We're expecting above-average rainfall and some windy, wet conditions early on. This means rivers could rise and loughs will be choppy. However, the forecast shows a significant shift midweek. Temperatures will start to fall from around 8 degrees Celsius down to 4 degrees by the weekend, with nighttime temperatures dropping to -1. This cooling and drying trend, especially if the atmospheric pressure stabilizes with it, can create fantastic feeding windows. The water temperature in the loughs is going to be hovering at a very cold 4 to 5 degrees Celsius. At this temperature, a fish's metabolism is very slow. They aren't going to waste energy chasing a meal, which is why our slow presentations are so crucial. Finally, let's talk about the moon, a factor many old-timers swear by. We are starting the week on a new moon. The days following a new moon as it enters the waxing crescent phase are often cited as prime times for predator activity, offering low-light conditions that big, wary fish prefer for hunting. So we have a combination of a cooling, stabilizing weather front and a new moon phase. That's a recipe for success in my book. All right, let's put it all together. Here is your day-by-day guide to fishing in Ireland this week. On Monday, the 19th of January, the bite will be tricky. We're looking at mild temperatures around 8 degrees, but with a high chance of rain and unsettled low pressure. The fish will likely be sluggish due to the changing conditions. A tough day to start. Tuesday, the 20th of January, calling the bite average. The rain is forecast to clear, but it will still be mild at 8 degrees. With the pressure beginning to settle, the fish might start to switch on, but it will still be a challenge. Patience will be key. Wednesday, the 21st of January, the bite should be average to good. The temperature starts to drop to around 6 degrees and the weather remains dry. This cooling trend is what we're looking for. The fish will start to get used to the stable conditions. This is a good day to be on the water. Thursday, the 22nd of January, gets a good rating from me. We'll see another drop in temperature, down to 5 degrees, with a chance of a light shower. This consistency in the cooling trend is excellent. The feeding windows should become more predictable. Focus on the afternoon. Friday, the 23rd of January, this is where it gets exciting. I'm rating this day as excellent. The temperature drops again to 4 degrees with a frosty night of -1. The weather is dry and stable. This cold, stable, high-pressure condition is prime for big pike. They will be conserving energy and looking for that one big meal. A well-presented deadbait could get you the fish of a lifetime. Saturday, the 24th of January, also gets an excellent. The conditions are a carbon copy of Friday, cold, stable and dry, with air temperatures around 4 degrees. This sustained period of stability is exactly what you want for winter fishing. The fish will be accustomed to the conditions and ready to feed. This is your weekend, friends. Go for it. Finally, Sunday, the 25th of January, rating as good to excellent. The stable, cold pattern continues with temperatures of 4 degrees during the day and -1 at night. It's the last day of a perfect winter fishing window. Don't miss out. So there you have it, my friends. A week that starts tough but ends with incredible potential. Thank you for joining me for this forecast. I hope it helps you get on the fish. Remember to wrap up warm, stay safe out there, and as always, tight lines and screaming reels. If you enjoyed this, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content. And I want to hear from you in the comments. What are your plans for the weekend? Have you ever caught a big one in these cold, frosty conditions? Share your stories. Until next time.